Did I suffer trauma? Maybe slightly, a little bit. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm actually about to head off to the post office this morning because I have some mail that I need to send off. I decided that I'm gonna try out weekly vlogging, so I'll be putting out like one weekly vlog per week and one hair video. I'm a homebody, so this is going to be so interesting, but I am embarking on a new journey in my life, doing something that I've never done before, like ever. I want to document this. I feel like I have so much more time to explore different things now that I'm no longer teaching. In case you're new to my channel, I taught Spanish for almost 4 years. I mentioned it in passing in a few of my last videos, but not really. I'm definitely gonna get into it later on in this vlog. Right now, I'm supposed to be at home, but I need to go to Target. Didn't take very long because I did not need a lot of stuff, but I have this tendency to not eat breakfast. Like, I would get up at 7-8 o'clock in the morning and leave the house and not eat. So I need to go home and make breakfast because it's actually still really early.
Got it, flown it, boy, I know you want it. While I turn around you, watch me check up on it. You watching me shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it. Come over and check up on 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 it. I know you want it. Come over and check up on 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 it.
Egg and holes are like my favorite quick breakfast to make because they're super easy, and I don't know why they like fill me up more. They fill me up more than just regular egg and toast. I don't know. When I was a kid, I watched V for Vendetta and I saw them making egg in a holes, and our family has been doing them ever since. I'm positive, you know, egg in a holes existed before then, but that was the first time that I had ever seen it. I really need to start sitting at my desk, but today's not gonna be that day. I'm gonna be on the couch. What I like to do is just kind of plan out my week. Now that I'm doing content creating full time, like, I'm gonna get into that soon, but I kind of have to have a routine that helps me out. It just makes me feel like I'm not just sitting around doing nothing, because if I sit around and do nothing at this point, I won't make any money. I bought these at the beginning of the year, and I use them a lot more now than I did while I was working, and I just have my to-do list for this week. I have a video coming out that you guys are probably gonna see before this one. It's of these boho twists that I did. I did this style a couple of weeks ago and it turned out really cute, so I'm excited for you guys to see that. I haven't done anything with it, to be honest. I just needed a break from my hair, so it's been in this messy bun ever since last week. I'm also trying to utilize different platforms now that I am doing full-time content creating. So recently I've been on Pinterest and I've been on TikTok a lot more. I'm kind of doing like a mini challenge for myself right now where I'm posting a TikTok every day for 30 days. If you don't follow me on there, you should definitely follow me because I do a lot of content over there that you won't see on my Instagram. People used to like recommend cross promoting, but from personal experience and then just even me knowing myself, for example, if I watch somebody and they have a TikTok and I follow their TikTok and I like their videos on TikTok, but all they do is literally copy the same videos from TikTok and post it on Instagram and there's like no new content, I don't have a reason to follow them on Instagram, so I'm not gonna go follow them on Instagram. That's just me personally. So I've really been trying to diversify my content. It's good to cross promote, like that's super important, especially when you're just starting out the platform. But I feel like once you get a little bit more established and you've kind of pushed that content that no one on that app has seen from your other platforms, it's time to start trying to create different things for those different apps, or at least like revamping the content that you already have, because I feel like you need to give people a reason to want to follow you on those other platforms. So for me, it's been kind of hard for me to grow my TikTok. Growing on TikTok has not been as easy as everyone is saying it is, but growing my platforms has not been as easy as people say they are. I've had to work really hard for it, and I'm gonna keep putting in that work. It's currently Wednesday, so this is that time of the week where I get to see where I'm at with everything that I've planned so far. So I still need to do an editing clone tutorial. I love to do these types of videos on my Instagram. I was kind of unsure about creating a tutorial because there's already so many out, and these videos typically don't perform as well as my hair content videos, so I wasn't sure if anyone would be interested in it, but I'm kind of interested in it, and I want to still like branch out and do some of the things that relate to beauty and fashion and lifestyle that I'm interested in, and kind of get, I guess, people used to seeing that from me and not just seeing hair content. Not that I will ever stop hair content, but I just don't want to limit myself and limit what I can offer when I know that I have a lot to offer. I got this planner from Target, so if I find it online, I will link it down in the description box because it has really been helpful for me. And the reason why I like this planner, it's called the mindfulness planner. You can like circle the month and the day. I fill this out like once a week, and I'll put my to-do list and like my affirmations, so you can write how you're feeling today, care moment today you'll let go of, today I am grateful for. Like, it just has all these cool things on it that you can do. And the reason that I use this versus I'm on an electronic device so often that I don't want to plan my stuff on an electronic device, so I would rather just write it down. Okay, so that was chaotic. I was supposed to vlog me going to get some Starbucks because I really wanted some Starbucks, but my mom called me and I broke my nail in the car. I've been growing my nails out for over a year with no problems, but it happens, you know. I feel like I'm ready to talk about like teaching and leaving teaching. I'll probably talk about this in multiple videos, but just talking like off the top of my head. Here's how my teaching experience went. I taught Spanish for almost 4 years. I'm fluent in Spanish. That is what my degree is in, along with English. I had always wanted to use my language skills for something, but I didn't want it to be teaching, not gonna lie. Active teaching I loved, even though that was not the path that I saw myself going down. But I ended up teaching Spanish. I taught from middle school, actually elementary school grades, because the first school that I worked at, it was originally a 4 through 8 school. Why was it a 4 through 8 school? I don't know, but it initially was a 4 through 8 school, so I taught from grades 4 through 8. I've also taught high school. My last year teaching was ultimately like what made me decide to leave. It was a chaotic year for me anyways, because within that year, we were still dealing with the pandemic. I moved to a new state. I'm teaching a different grade of kids. I had been used to dealing with mainly 4 through 8, but typically middle school grades, so grades 6 through 8. So I went from dealing with middle schoolers to dealing with mainly seniors and juniors, and it was just an adjustment. I didn't have many issues with the high school students, no behavioral issues, none of that, but the environment was just not a positive environment. It was not an environment that the students enjoyed. It was not an environment that the staff enjoyed. Just me being a new teacher, like coming in and looking from an outside perspective, it was just a very isolating experience that I no longer wanted to be a part of, and it just wasn't that school. And I'm not gonna fault that school or anything, because there's so many issues within the education system, literally everywhere. And what I was quickly starting to see as I taught over the years is that no matter where I went, there were going to be some of those same issues that I was seeing. I was so unhappy. I taught middle school. School ended like at 4, but I had duty. I had morning duty, lunch duty, car duty, all the duties. With the exception of like when the pandemic came and everything. So I got home at like 4:45, 5 o'clock. So I'll be at school from like 8 to 5, which is pretty normal for most people. But then when I switched from middle school to high school, the schedules completely changed. So I would have to get up for work at 5 a.m. and I would be to work at like 6 something, and then we got out at 2 something, and that was just a hard adjustment for me. Honestly, I was not used to waking up that early, but that's still not why I left. I just was really unhappy and overwhelmed with trying to manage teaching and going where I want to go with content creating. I started back in 2018, and in my heart, I'm like stuck because half of me feels like if I would have put my all into content creating like from the start and put in more time and effort, that I would be further than where I'm currently at now. And the other part of me is like, no, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, because everything definitely happens for a reason. Teaching was an experience that I was supposed to go through, but it was just hard. My first year teaching was terrible. The most part, every first year teacher struggles, but I was at a rough school. I love those students, and there are some really great educators and staff members at that school, but I cannot lie to you. I can't keep lying to myself. Like, even sitting here, I'm so afraid to like really go into detail of what I went through and what my experience was like, because I don't want to offend anybody or for anybody to seem like this is personal, because it's not. And it's just shows that there's bigger issues with the education system. It wasn't just these schools. Like, they were honestly doing the best that they could with the resources that they had. But it was a wild ride. Man, that first school, those kids, they have been through things and seen things that me and my 26 years of living have never seen before. Like, they've been through some things. So some of them were like very advanced for their age. Some of them didn't listen to their own parents. So I'm just putting my mind in the perspective of a middle schooler who has been through so much and has all these responsibilities. If I don't listen to or respect my own parents, why do I need to go to school and listen to and respect my teachers and my principal and admin and the janitors and lunch ladies and all these people? And that is kind of the mentality that they moved with. So it was rough. I stayed at that school for 3 years though, and I felt like I reached who I was meant to reach. Did I suffer trauma? Maybe slightly, a little bit. Like, I will give it to my student. Because of my middle school kids, I now have tougher skin. Honey, no social media troll can say anything that is going to hurt my feelings, because I taught middle schoolers. Teaching them, I had to learn that things are not personal. So before I even get into the negativity of like teaching and what really went down, I'll go over the positives with that. With teaching middle schoolers and teaching them is that they gave me tough skin. Through teaching, I learned that you cannot take anything personal. Kids are kids, yes. And I know some people feel like kids just stay in a kid's place and this and that, but they be going through stuff. And sometimes they come to school and they're acting a little rude, a little snazzy, they got a little attitude, but it has nothing to do with you. Even the mean comments that they'll say. I had to learn to not take things personal. Like, appreciate your honesty, but Jesus, God, I know this already. Thank you for pointing it out to me, but I already knew. Like, I had a kid tell me that I looked like I was half dead. She's like, you look terrible. Did you not put on any makeup today? Because you look exhausted. I had students ask me why I wear the same shoes to work every day. Because I'm not trying to look cute for you. I don't go to work to look cute. I don't. My Clarks are my comfortable shoes, so that's what I wear to work. I've had students ask me why I'm wearing a certain outfit. Anything to kind of deflect them from the lesson, like learning, you know? And I learned to not respond to a lot of things. With teaching anyways, there's like this expectation that you have to be like this freaking role model, like perfect person, and that's just not, that doesn't exist. But as a teacher, you have to maintain this level of professionalism. So it's not like if someone said something, if a kid, first of all, they're kids anyways, but it's not like I could say anything back that wouldn't get me written up or fired. But still, I learned to not be so quick to react to everything. That kind of helped me with classroom management, because when you're a first year teacher, kids will really try to use those means of distracting you to deflect from not wanting to learn, or just passing time in class, or just because it's fun. But some negative things that came with teaching and why I ultimately decided to leave is just because there's just so many expectations on teachers. Like, I felt like I could not enjoy like being a person in their 20s. Not that I post crazy things on social media anyways, and not that there aren't teachers out there that post whatever they want, but you could get fired for that type of stuff, and teachers have gotten fired for like silly things like taking a picture with a glass of wine. Like, there's just so many rules and expectations of how you're supposed to present yourself to the world, even when you're not in the classroom, even when you are not in the school building. And I didn't like that restrictive feeling, especially being that I was also, content creating along with teaching. I felt like I had to be so mindful. And I'm very picky with sponsored posts. Like, I do not do sponsored posts if it's not something that I enjoy, if it's not something that I feel like would benefit my audience. But even like with teaching, it limited the amount, like the sponsorships that I could get. Like, I definitely could not be sponsored by a bikini brand or like a wine company or anything like that, because that could jeopardize my job. And I'm also young, you know what I mean? So I felt like I just had to cover up too much of who I am. It also kind of got in the way of my wardrobe. Like, I'll show you guys, maybe if I remember, show you guys later on this week, my wardrobe. My wardrobe now is full of teacher clothes, and I need a new wardrobe because it's too hot in Florida, first of all. And second of all, I don't want to wear that. I don't need to wear that anymore. It's so much to think about. I don't even know where to begin. Some of this stuff may not seem like a big deal to people, but it is a big deal. With teaching, you don't get to just get up and go to the bathroom. I could not go to the bathroom whenever I wanted because I have 40 kids in my class. Yeah, like 30, 40 kids in my class, because schools are so understaffed now that a lot of classes are overcrowded, with the exception of like the beginning of the pandemic where half of the kids were learning from home and the other half were in class. With the exception of that school year, I always have classes full of students. And mind you, I was an elective teacher as well, and we don't get the same amount of support that the core teachers barely get themselves. If they're not getting that support, damn sure we're not getting that support. So it's not like I could go next door or across the hall and ask somebody, could they cover my class for me while I go to the restroom, because they had 30 kids too. They were an elective teacher just like me, going through the same struggle. Nobody talks about the bladder issues that teachers get, but not being able to go and use the bathroom whenever I want really affected me. And oh my gosh, I don't even know what an hour-long lunch is, unless we were in pre-planning before the school year started and everything, or like Christmas break or something like that. What is an hour-long lunch? What is being able to leave the campus on your lunch break? Like, what? Like, other jobs get to do that? Huh? Like, I know they do, but that was just not normal for a teacher. Having to be around so many different personalities and so many different little people all day, and you only get 30 minutes. And then, like, as far as the respect for elective teachers, being a Spanish teacher, Oh my gosh, I hope I'm not coming off like I'm complaining, because I'm not. Like, I'm just being real. Teachers as is are not respected in society. They're not given the respect that they should get. It's even worse for elective teachers. Think of your PE teacher, think of your music teachers, your art teachers, your world language teachers, your business computers teachers, computer science teachers, etc. All these teachers that are what we call outside of the core are left on the back burner a lot. And because I was just the Spanish teacher, and I don't know, I don't want to speak for my former team members, but I'm pretty sure they felt the same. It's like, because I wasn't teaching math or ELA, there's just a huge lack of respect from like the parents, from my students. With my students, for instance, they genuinely thought that my class didn't count. So if a kid thinks that a class doesn't count towards their grade, are they gonna do? Most kids are not gonna do any work. It was not true, by the way, because with Spanish, for like, I don't know about other states, but typically in the South, for Spanish courses, they start getting high school credits for Spanish in 8th grade, 7th and 8th grade, depending on how the school does it. So these classes matter for these students, and it was so hard getting it into my kids' head that, hey, you really want to pay attention in class now and next year, and like pay attention in middle school so that you can go ahead and get your high school credit so that you can be done with Spanish sooner, since you quote unquote hate Spanish anyways. And their parents didn't think Spanish mattered either. So it was so hard for me to even contact parents. Half the time they did not return my phone calls, they did not answer. I preferred to call parents to tell them about the good things that their kids were doing in class, because they don't get that often, especially the kids that already have like behavioral issues. But even then, it was hard to get in contact with the parents. I did not get like a planning period really until my last year of teaching. Every time it was time for me to get my planning period, it was up. Such and such teachers, could you please report to hall such and such to cover this class? My planning periods were spent covering other people's classes, relieving other teachers for their bathroom breaks, being a hall monitor, looking after kids who needed a timeout from their classrooms. Like, I never had time to actually plan for lessons. I feel like it is what it is at this point, so I kind of feel numb to it right now. And I didn't realize how much it bothered me, but it did. For elective teachers, it was just treated as if, oh, well, they don't do nothing anyways. They're just teaching PE. You're just doing this. You don't need all that extra time. So we didn't get no extra time. Not only was I constantly covering for other people's classes, and I don't blame the teachers, by the way. And I kind of don't even blame admin, because the problem is just so much deeper. As I'm explaining this all to you guys, please know that I'm not blaming anyone. It shows how fucked up the education system truly is, and everyone is literally just trying to do the best that they can. And I want to kind of go into, I don't want to get into conspiracy theories. I don't even know if I want to call it a conspiracy theory, but I have a theory on that as to why this is happening, but I don't even know if I want to get into that in this video. But yeah, not only did I have to cover classes like all the time, I also had every single duty you could think of. I had morning duty, I had lunch duty. My first 2 years, I actually had morning duty, lunch duty for all 3 lunches, and afternoon duty. I had car rider duty. We're all struggling, so it's kind of hard to really see where another teacher is coming from when you're also struggling. So again, I don't blame the other teachers, because I know it was hard for core teachers because they have a lot of expectations. And I especially saw that my last year teaching, when I started teaching high school. But they have a lot of expectations and have a lot of respect for teachers, like all teachers. I just wish that teachers in general were respected more. I wish that they were more respectful of like other types of teachers too, you know? I wish there were more parents that were more respectful of teachers, because in turn their kids would have more respect towards teachers. It's just a whole thing. Another thing that I hated as an elective teacher was when it came to testing. Oh my gosh, I thought testing was bad at my first school. It was worse in high school. God, don't get no breaks from state testing. Had to administer every test. Sometimes I didn't get to eat lunch on time, or I didn't get to eat lunch at all because you have to stay in with these kids until the last person is done testing, and some kids have accommodations, so they may take a little longer to test. And March to May is just I was a Spanish teacher, and we had so many ESOL students at my school, so I had kids in my class that I was testing. They weren't necessarily my students, but I was administering tests to them. Kids who only spoke Spanish, only spoke Persian, Arabic, French, all of these different languages. That wasn't a problem, I thought that was so cool. But I also saw like how they don't get the schools just don't get the resources that they need, especially at low-income schools. Those kids did not get the resources that they need. Had to be testing proctored so much. Oh my gosh, I hated March through May. It was my least favorite time of the year. Sometimes this was more so like my first couple of years teaching, kind of going along with being pushed to the back burner. So much was going on. I didn't get the time to really teach my students. You'll hear people say it all the time. Oh, I didn't learn anything. I didn't learn Spanish. I didn't learn nothing in my Spanish class. I can't remember what I learned in my Spanish class. As a Spanish teacher, I'll tell you multiple reasons. And I was really, really trying to instill things in my students, especially being a non-Hispanic Black teacher, because my kids were mainly minority, and that was something that they had never seen before. So I took my job very seriously. I wanted my kids to learn in my class, so I went out of my way. Y'all, I am an introverted person, and I was a character. I tried to be a character in my class because I wanted my students to truly get something. Like, I put so much time and effort into teaching. So going back to like people saying, oh, I didn't learn anything in Spanish class. First, as a Spanish teacher, I tell you, it's because Spanish teachers did not have the time to truly teach the kids like they wanted to, because with elective classes, other people just don't respect the class. So if a kid needs to be pulled out because they're struggling in another class, but they need that extra time to get their core classes right, to get right with that stuff, to make sure that they are prepared for testing, to make sure that they completed all of their work, that is so necessary. But whenever a kid needs to be taken for an interview, or they need to have pullouts, or there's something going on with the school, guess when they are going to pull that kid out of class? They're going to pull them out during their electives class. And this is something that would happen with different kids at different times, different days. They would send me an email, like a heads up or whatever, but it was still something that I had no control over. So I have all these kids that are missing class, and then I gotta catch them up, and then I have to go back, and then I have to do review because everybody's just all over the place. It was so much. Oh my God. I felt like they couldn't get what they needed from my class. So it was that. It's also the fact that kids don't pay attention. When I was in school, like, you couldn't be on your phones like that, and I kind of understood why. Like, I know they say that electronic devices are good and you can use them to learn and access girl, whatever. I was in school not too long ago. Most kids are not using their cell phones for educational purposes, not solely for educational purposes. They're on TikTok now. They're on social media. Some of them are making TikToks and going on Instagram live during class. They're not focused. There's all these distractions, and we are trying to teach and compete against technology, and school systems have still not found an effective way to incorporate these technologies into the curriculum, into learning, so where teachers can overpower and get their attention. Because right now it's so hard. How can I get them to prepare for a test and pay attention and just focus when they have all these distractions? Honey, that's the reason when your kid comes to you and says, I didn't learn anything in this class, that's probably why. And then I didn't experience these issues at my first school, but the last school that I taught at, I really experienced what it's like to deal with issues with other adults. The adults in my last school, there are some friendly ones, but for the most part, they were not very welcoming. Kind of came in the middle of the school year taking over after they had so many different Spanish teachers come and go and come and go and come and go, which is pretty much the case for like all schools now, y'all. I just didn't feel welcome. And I'm not a child, you know, it's not like anyone has to go out of their way to make me feel welcome. But that school as a whole, there was just no culture there. I experienced, I don't want to call it racism, I don't know. I felt, but I'm not crazy at the same time, you know. I felt that standoffishness and that mistreatment. I would come into work and I would say, good morning. And I would try to speak to the other teachers, and some of them would literally just look at me, wouldn't say anything, and would keep walking. And I have a young face and everything, and people would be like, oh my God, I thought you were a student. But after a while, it's like, okay, now, you can't keep using that same excuse. And even if I was a student, y'all treat students like that. So I always pay attention to how adults treat other adults, because my thing is, if another staff member is treating me this way, then how are they treating the other students? I don't think there's anything wrong with white teachers teaching minority students, but everybody at that school pretty much was a minority student. They were Black, they're Hispanic, they're ESOL, they had just come here from another country, but the majority of teachers were white. I grew up being the only Black person in so many of the spaces that I was in, but as far as like my career with teaching, I had always been around people who looked like me. So I did not know what that felt like that reminder of how that feels. And I honestly I don't miss that feeling at all. It was just like, yes, I could have stayed there for the kids, but I just, like, staying in that atmosphere and that environment was not healthy for me, and it was severely affecting my mental health. I'm not gonna go, yes I am, I'm gonna go there, never mind. I had a lot of instances where other teachers would come to my class, and mind you, I started in the middle of the school year at this school. I was not explained any rules, any of the policies. I was just thrown in there. I was thrown to the wolves, okay? Like, they were asking me my first day there, you sure you don't need another teacher to stand in class with you for a couple of days? And I'm like, golly, like, what do y'all expect these kids to do? Are they really that bad? I think they were expecting me to struggle with these kids, and I did not have issues with these kids. And in fact, I was trying to get the kids to be more energetic. School is different, especially different school districts. And this was not an in-state district. I moved to a completely different state where everything was just different, quite different from how it is in Georgia. So nobody ever explained anything to me. They just yelled at me when I was wrong. And I'm a grown-ass woman. You're not about to yell at me and talk to me any kind of way. I feel like acting today, so let me act this out. Don't you write any other students another pass. Wait, I can't even act right, y'all. You need to make sure that you don't write students hall passes at this time. Did you not even read the email? So that was probably a terrible example, but I'll just say it was crazy. Like, they were really just bust in front of my classroom, in front of my students, and just talk to me any kind of way. And my students would be like, Miss Young, why they just come in your classroom talking to you like that? You guys see how unprofessional that is, right? That's the downfall of being a quiet person and having a young face. Because people just really try you, and then when you stand up for yourself, they're all shocked. I was not about to return to that school and return back to teaching the following year, still dealing with that absolute ridiculousness. Like, I had to prove myself there. It was like, who is this young Black girl coming in teaching IB Spanish? Is she even qualified to do this? She looks like a first-year teacher. And it's not all in my head either. It got to the point where I knew it was gonna be like something petty and unnecessary every single day that I went to work. It got to the point where, like, I was crying before having to return to work every Monday. I didn't want to go to work. I even started getting sick a lot too. And I think that was like my immune system responding to everything and just being like, this is not a healthy environment for you. Like, we don't like this. My body did not like it. And I knew it was like the final straw when I started, my mental health like started affecting me so bad. I started going to therapy. I found a therapist on therapyforblackgirls.com. You guys should definitely check it out. There's nothing wrong with needing to go to therapy. And I'm so glad that I did that because I'm feel myself just getting in such a better place. But when I went to my therapist, and she was pretty much just like, you need to make a pros and cons list about teaching. Like this, like why are you still here? And then I started thinking, why am I still here? Like, I was literally torturing myself. So on May 27th, 2022, just a couple of days before my birthday, I put in my letter of resignation, and here we are today being a full-time creator. So you guys are gonna like see that journey. I wanna do more showing than telling, but I'm excited. So I think I can end it on here because I could go on for days about like the shit that I went through teaching. You guys want some story times? Maybe I'll do that because movies could be made. Say more than that. Maybe it wasn't that important. That's what you used to say to me, but I used to actually need to say something important though. The lucky thing about cooking is the dishes. Like, so many dishes accumulate, and I try to like wash dishes as I'm cooking, but I don't always feel like doing that. So I need to wash these dishes. I usually get up at 7 a.m. I got up at 7 because I really wanted my YouTube video to go up today. It's a boho twist tutorial. That video has been uploaded. I had to get up, do the thumbnail and the description box and all that stuff. So that video's up. I posted my reel to go along with that video. So that's all good. I have a TikTok that I'm gonna be posting later on today, but now that stuff's out the way. That took forever. Still have to put my laundry away. Not gonna happen right now because I'm kind of running out of time. Being that I had to edit that video this morning, kind of pushed me back a little bit. I have a wax appointment in about an hour. I'm starving right now, and I want to make dinner tonight. I'm gonna get lunch now, and then I'm gonna wait to go to the grocery store after my appointment. I love the chicken Madeira from Cheesecake Factory, so I'm gonna try and make it myself today. So yeah, I found this recipe. I'll link it down in the description box if you guys are interested, but I've really been trying to just like cook more. But anyways, I'm starving. Let's go eat. Tiana, what can I get for you? Can I get a number 1 with some? Yeah. And can I get a Sprite with that? Barbecue sauce, please. Thank you. You too. Left my appointment. Now I'm going to go to Home Goods. I thought I was gonna just be able to go get some groceries to cook tonight, but I don't have a pan big enough to fit the chicken and everything into like one pot to go in the oven. So I need to get one of those dishes. So I'm gonna go to Home Goods. I literally should not have done this. I'm on the highway and we're all going like 20 and you cannot see anything at all. All I wanted was chicken Madeira. I'm just going to enjoy my evening. This will probably be the end of this vlog just because it's the end of the week and the weekend's coming up, and I kind of like to just relax during those days. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If you guys enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Let me know if you like this new schedule of me posting a weekly vlog along with a hair video. So that's 2 videos a week. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.